Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Chunk Chat. Today I have a special guest with us, SeerSupreme, also known as Hannibal. Won't you introduce yourself and let everybody know why you're here?
Yeah, my name is Hannibal, and I have a Supreme OneChunk Ironman account called SeerSupreme. It is starting in Seers Village, obviously, and it's been going now for about 7 months. Started in October 2023.
Excellent, yeah. So you are how far away from completing the chunk right now?
That is a contentious question, unfortunately, because I would say I'm about a month away, but it's all dependent on whether the beaver decides to grace my presence or not
Good
within that
old
time.
RNG, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 things left, and one of them is it has an end goal, but the beaver it doesn't. It could be it could be in this podcast. It could be, in the next 3 months.
Chopping trees right now.
Yep, chopping oaks. I basically switch between oaks or yews, depending on if I have a lot of time to play with or whether I wanna grind out logs.
What's the better pet rate, do you think?
I think oak's a better pet rate statistically, even though it's higher drop rate. I think you chop oaks a lot faster than yews. So, yews are 1 in 147k and oaks are 1 in 361k. But I cut about 150 to 200 yews an hour, but I cut almost 700, 800 oaks an hour. So I think it works out better.
For sure, yeah. You have like a felling axe too. Does that really help like logs much or?
Not really. I think the steel. I've got a steel felling axe, and I think it's about perfect for chopping oaks at a speed that's good enough to beat the yew logs. But I don't think it actually adds anything extra until you've got. Is it nature offerings? I think that gives you extra logs or extra XP. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I've used it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about forestry stuff, but that kind of propels us into a question I wanted to ask is what's your general feelings on forestry? Do you think it's a good update to the game? Helpful for your account in general?
Well, there's a couple of points. The first one would be I think that generally the first few updates were good. Like when they brought forestry into the game and they were like, it's a community style skill now where you can go and chop trees with loads of people and you're not fighting for resources and stuff like that. I thought that was really good. The events in general were good. It was they were some of them were fun, some of them were pointless and boring, but you're not gonna you're not gonna make everyone happy. But I think that when they brought out part 2, where they added all the extra events in and things like that, again, I thought it was a pretty good update. I was like, it's more stuff, there's more excitement, there's more things to do. It makes forestry, it makes woodcutting either a grind where you can do it just on your own, just because you want to do an AFK thing,
Mhm.
or you can do it with a load of people where it feels a bit more engaging, a bit more, fun to do it as a group. But when they brought out that update where they stopped people from jumping, hopping worlds and just doing
Mhm.
any of the forestry events anywhere, I think that's when they ruined it. I think now it's taken all that fun that they put into it out. And
Yeah.
now I don't do woodcutting on forestry worlds anymore because it's just pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Um Yeah, I'm really glad that they got rid of the extra items they had to bring places. Kind of made it like I was more confusing, and I thought it was
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, it had like some weird XP problems. Like I think you had viable mining XP at some point with one of the items you could create gave like mining XP for some reason.
Yeah, I
Um,
think there was
yeah.
a few things with it actually where it I think when they did that, when they said, "Okay, we're not going to. You don't need to use those items anymore to get the forestry uniques. I thought that was really good, but then afterwards they said, but now the rates are going to be worse. Like actually getting the forestry event that you want is going to be way harder than it was.
Mm.
So they almost evened it out to the point where it was still as bad as it was before they took the things away, which I thought was stupid.
Yeah, just less confusing, I guess, but still as hard of a grind, which is already like pretty difficult of like a green log as far as I've seen, because I just recently green logged it on my Ironman.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones then, because my group Ironman has been trying to get that golden pheasant egg for a long. I've got like I think I've got 9,000 of the feathers in my bank, and I still don't have the golden pheasant egg.
Yeah, I think I did get kind of lucky, but I still think I went like 100 events for the pheasant egg, um, of the pheasant event specifically. But
I don't
um,
know what your thoughts are on it specifically, but I just felt like why do you need to have something that's that much of a grind for wood cutting?
mhm. Yeah, I
You know, you
think
do it
their
for boss
aim.
pets and things like that. That's fine. I get it. You're engaging in a thing, and sometimes you can do it with other people and whatever, and you can get uniques. But getting a golden pheasant egg that changes, the beaver into a fox or into a pheasant?
The
Was that
pheasant,
like,
and then the fox
is
is
that
the
worth it?
whistle. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think the transmogs are kind of silly, honestly. Like a fox could have been its own pet, and a pheasant could have been its own pet. Um,
Yeah.
Kind of like makes the beaver not really yeah, that cool of a pet anyway. And they added a transmog to that, so you can change the color too. But hardly anybody uses the beaver anyway, so the transmog for
Well,
that
yeah,
is,
exactly.
yeah, it's a little too much, I felt. And I understood what their aim was, to make woodcutting more fun, but the best way to do forestry, like you said earlier, was to hop around and only do the events, which are like not really woodcutting, even though you get woodcutting XP. So that kind of seemed silly. Um, that yeah, the best way to woodcut was to not woodcut, but
Yeah, yeah. But they made it that way by adding those uniques to it. If they hadn't had the uniques, then people probably wouldn't have hopped around.
yeah, it might
And
have
people
just been
probably would
like
have
an
just
extra
done the
thing.
events. Yeah, when they just saw it, they were like, "Oh, I need some like token farming XP, so I'll go do that event." Or some of them drop, bird eggs and seed nests and all that kind of stuff, which makes sense. It's like that's fine.
Yeah,
You're not really adding too much to the game, and some people will be like, "It's not worth it," and some people will be like, "I need it." But adding those uniques made it like people had to hop for it. And now they've taken that away, which is good for forestry, but it's bad for collection log, which means now you've got this problem where people just can't get it. Some of the uniques, and now they're just stressed about it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the way I go into most things with collection log is to not stress about it, to do it the way that um I enjoy the most, basically. So I was AFKing magics the entire time to get the green log, so it was pretty chill for me. And I got to bank like a lot of logs, and I think that's how it should have been. That should have been like the best way to do it. Not necessarily like magic trees, maybe like a more, um, the faster you get logs, the faster you get events and stuff. But yeah, I think it should have been wood cutting most of the time and events some of the time to make it less boring. I feel they kind of missed the mark on that. Um,
Yeah, maybe they shot themselves in the foot with just having so many different types of event.
mhm.
Maybe they could have cut out like the flowering plant one. Just cut it, get rid of it, and you
Yeah,
could probably have got rid of the leprechaun as well. I mean, I know it's nice to bank logs and get some increased XP, but the axe gives you increased XP. So
Yeah.
just get rid of the leprechaun one as well, and then you give people more chance of getting the uniques, but you don't get rid of the events altogether. But
Yeah.
I'm not an old school RuneScape dev, so I'm
Yeah, me neither.
not gonna start telling them how to do their job.
Yeah, I have my own opinions on stuff, but yeah, definitely don't know what's going on behind the scenes, or I can only look at it through my perspective, not the whole community's. But probably the way I would have done it is less uniques, but have each event either make you more money or, you know, speed up the actual wood cutting part of it.
Mm.
Which is actually I like the leprechaun event. I like being able to bank my logs and not have to like tally out, especially when I was AFKing. Definitely improves the AFKing part of it.
Yeah, I guess I'm a bit biased because I'm stuck in a chunk,
Yeah,
so my
yeah,
bank is never far away.
that's true. That's true. Um, Definitely different perspectives, but yeah, as a JMod, you'd have to like look at every perspective differently. So
Mm.
yeah. So why Sears Village in the first place? Why don't you let us know?
Well, it's actually just where, because I played RuneScape back in 2006, 2007, whenever it was, and my account got stolen, and I started a new account, and that got stolen. So then I give up,
Um,
and then the next time I came back to RuneScape was RS3, and I maxed on that. And then my friends decided they wanted to start when the group Ironman came out for old school.
mhm.
That's when they wanted to start old school RuneScape again. So I swapped from RS3 to start the group Ironman. So I didn't have a main for ages.
um,
I just had the group Ironman,
mhm.
and the group Ironman got to the point where it was kind of mid game, getting into late game, end game stuff. And my method of banking was Sears Village. You know, I'd got the diary requirements to swap it from Camelot Castle to outside the bank. I didn't have the crafting cape, so it was just the closest bank.
Mhm.
So literally my entire there was a good like, I don't know. I mean, I'm still doing it now actually on the group Ironman, but there was a good like 8 9 months where my teleports were always to Sears Village, and I just got to like the place because I spent so much time there. And then I was doing Master Clues, you know, Phalow's just up north, and then Sherlock's just south, and I was just spending lots of time there. And I actually started an extreme OneChunk Ironman
Really?
in Sears Village, and I was playing it for fun. And I didn't know about the clan, I didn't know about the chunk picker. I was just doing it for fun.
Hmm.
And my friend said, "Well, if you're doing it, we want to keep updated with your progress. Why not just make YouTube videos?" And I ummed and ahed about it for ages, like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm cut out for YouTube, and you know, I'd probably get too stressed about wanting to grow and be really successful and all that kind of stuff. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to have fun with it. So I didn't for ages, but then I found Buzz RS, the Supreme One Chunk Overlord Master.
OG, yes, sir.
Yeah, the creator. And I was just like, that kind of challenge is what fits my kind of ADHD response to games, because I 100% video games all the time on like PlayStation and Xbox and Steam and
Mhm.
whatever. And Supreme seemed like that fit that niche of it's pretty much 100% a chunk, and it's really difficult, and you're ticking stuff off, and it's, you know, it's just generally fun for me. So that's why I did it. And I was like, I love Sears Village. I've already done extreme one chunk in Sears Village, so I know kind of what to expect. So that's why I ended up just sticking with it and just upping it to Supreme instead.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So you got like a general feel of the area from the extreme, and then probably hit the ground running with the Supreme when you started it.
Yeah, because I got to Catherby on the extreme, and I just
Mhm.
unlocked Brimhaven via the chart ship. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a step back, think about this YouTube thing, and think about Supreme. So I did. I just thought I'm just going to start it again. And this was pre Forestry.
Mhm.
So I'd already got out of Seers Village just, chopping yew trees or whatever, and doing a bit of fletching.
A
But then
lot easier
Forestry
back
came.
then.
It was a hell of a lot easier. And then I made it harder with Supreme, and then they were like, "Here's Forestry." And I was like, "God damn it. It's now 10 times harder."
Definitely complicated things. But that's pretty cool. So you kind of mentioned why you picked Supreme. Um, so what's the big differences between Extreme and Supreme in Sears Village?
I think I kind of talked about it briefly in one of my earlier videos, but Supreme is obviously just harder because you have to add the skilling pets in, and Sears Village has obviously men to pickpocket and it has trees. So you need to get Rocky and you need to get Beaver. But when you kind of look around Sears Village, a lot of the chunks around it have 99 capes.
Mhm.
Whereas if you start in, Lumbridge or whatever, you might start with 2 99 grinds straight away, but your next 99 after that is actually quite far away and you get a bit of a break. Whereas in Sears Village, it's smack bang in the middle of, you've got the fire making cape just to the south, you've got the ranging cape just to the southwest, you've got the construction cape is technically in the chunk, but because I've got no way to train it, I can't. There's the attack and strength capes over in Berthorpe, same as the thieving cape and the herblore cape. And then there's technically the crafting cape just outside of Falador, which I could technically get to quickly if I
Mhm.
got unlucky. And the prayer cape over at the monastery, which is technically in a straight line. So if I did get super unlucky, I could find myself with a 99 prayer grind in 6 rolls or something. So that's what kind of makes this place stand out a bit more for me. And I think a lot of the other chunkers who are kind of in the area have the same thing. So, Mark RS, obviously over in Berthorpe, he has a similar thing where a lot of those grinds are all concentrated in one direction. So if he goes west, he might have a bit of a tough time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
people that start in the desert or start in Lumbridge or Varrock and these places, they don't really have that worry to begin with.
Yeah, it's like the time when they created that area, they're just like, let's just pin all these skill capes right in one place. Why not? Like,
Yeah,
when
they're
will
just like
this ever
bung it
be a
all in.
problem?
Yeah. OneChunk's that's never going to be a concept. So just put everything in there. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Yeah, and then
I
like
blame
Zaya,
Alex.
you got like one skill cape in the entire
Yeah,
continent.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you got people like Frey who started in Canifis and just had almost nothing for a long time.
Going into
I
the
mean,
wilderness, zero
yeah,
skill capes
now
left.
he's trapped.
Mhm.
And arguably a harder grind than doing a skill cape, but
In some ways, yeah. In some
yeah.
ways, more interesting though, uh,
Oh, absolutely.
depending on it. But yeah, so what do you think will be your next big grind once you do make it out of Sears Village?
Um, there's a couple, and I keep going backwards and forwards in my head of whether I want to go straight into another like hard grind or whether I want to have a bit of a mind break for a bit. But essentially, south of Sears Village is the 99 fire making cape, and if I roll that chunk next, I have to get 99 fire making with Forester's campfires, which is a third of the XP because I don't have access to a tinderbox. So
Oh yeah, okay.
I can tell you right now, actually, I have got for fire making, I've got 26 million XP banked, but because it's a third of the XP, it's not 26 million, and it's also not 99.
Hmm.
So I still have a lot of wood cutting to go to even be able to achieve that.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty brutal. And then in the chunk to my east, which is going towards Catherby, that has a bit of a farming grind. It's 50 farming to do nature offerings. but I basically have to do it with the small amount of seeds that I've got, or I'll have to do loads more forestry
You get
events to get
the
there.
patch there, the allotment patch.
Yeah, you get the allotment patch. The
That's
problem
usually like
is,
a torstal for people, but I'm guessing you don't have access to a torstal seed.
no, I did before Source Chunk changed the rules about having partial chunks unlocked. There was ice giants on the mountain that I could kill with ranged or magic, and then um, I could, what's the spell called? It's just completely gone out of my head. Telegrab. I could
Mm.
telegrab the whatever seeds, and one of them was a torstal seed. But because he changed the rules about how partial chunks work, I now don't have to. So it came down to just nature offerings 50.
Was that because like it's kind of blocked off that area? Like you're talking about directly next to you, like the Camelot Castle chunk?
Yeah, exactly. So White Wolf Mountain, the kind of eastern tip of it, there is like 3 ice giants right on top. And I think if I maneuver myself to just northwest of the tunnel that takes you down underneath White Wolf Mountain,
Mhm.
if I put on long range, magic or range, I think I can reach the ice giant that's closest. So it'd be a lot of waiting around for the ice giant to get into the right position for me to hit it, and then I'd be able to telegrab it if it was just on the right square for me to get it.
Yeah.
And because before you couldn't split the chunks up, it just had the requirement in there because it just noted that there was an ice giant in the chunk. But because now Source Chunk was like, that's a bit silly, we're gonna have to do this partial chunk thing. Now that thing I can't reach it technically, so it's not included anymore.
Well, that's definitely good. Yeah. I would
Yeah, it would have been a ridiculous grind. It really would have been if I'd had
mhm.
to have done that.
Probably like a lot of trouble luring, maybe even like use vaults to get it in that
Yeah,
spot every time, and maybe a way to
probably.
trap it. But yeah, that sounds yeah, not like a fun grind to me. So
The
that's
problem
good.
with that chunk actually is because I opened that farming patch, Tangleroot becomes um a requirement,
Yep. That's also
which
an
it
issue. Yeah.
which again it would be I would there's a good like 99% chance that I'm leaving this chunk after completing everything physically possible.
Mhm.
But if I got that chunk next, I would have to do my first exception, I think, which would be a shame, but
Mhm.
I don't think many people would argue because Buzz did the same and not many people argued with that.
Yeah, that's probably my thing about chunks is exceptions suck. I know it's you gotta do it sometimes. Um, but yeah, with my chunk, I kind of picked it because there weren't like any exceptions that I'd need to make, and I'm pretty sure I can get away with not making exceptions for a very long time on my account, luckily. But yeah, that's not the case for a lot of people, especially when in such a condensed area like that, having something like a tangle route to go for. Tangle route with one patch is not how that pet was designed to be rolled, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you'd have to get it by getting seeds from um like random events and things
Mhm.
because all the seed nests that drop from trees, they're only tree seeds, so I can't use them. So it'd have to be like wandering implings, and random events and things to be able to actually do it. And I think that is a kind of grind that a lot of people would agree is silly.
Yeah.
And it's even more silly for me as somebody that makes YouTube videos and has a series. If I was like, right, I'm going to go for this tangle route, it's going to take me 4 years. People are going to be like, well, what the hell's the point in that? You're
Yeah.
gonna have a video that all of a sudden you go, I can't make any more content. Sorry, guys. See you in 3.5 years. It'd be silly. So,
Yeah, that would definitely be a warranted exception.
whereas
Uh,
your chunk actually, arguably, is a similar kind of. It's not 3 years, but it's a similar long grind. But you have so much stuff
yeah.
to do. Like the raid has hunter methods and fishing methods, and all that kind of thing, that you could probably keep all the content up for a long time while doing all the challenge runs, and that sounds like a reasonable thing to do, which I
Yeah.
think you agree with because you're doing it.
Mhm. Exactly. It's split up into several different grinds, and that kind of keeps the content flowing in a lot of
Mm.
different ways. And yeah, if you're just farming one patch for 4 years, I don't think you'll keep the interest of most of your viewers, sadly. It might be interesting to watch you slowly turn to madness, but
Yeah.
other than that, I think most people would agree that probably putting that off, putting Tangleroot off to a different thing, maybe unlock a certain amount of patches, you go for it, or a certain way to get seeds, then that would be more realistic. Cut several years off your time, at least.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, I might not even get that chunk anyway, so it's not a problem. But if I
Mhm.
did, I think the thing that I would do is I would get to 50 for the nature offerings, and if I haven't got it by then, I'll use any remaining seeds that I have, and then I'll just say, "Look, that's it. I've done everything I can in the chunk, so I'm just gonna backlog it and move on." But
Yeah,
you never know. Extreme Gnome got spooned, so maybe I can get it too, especially after this beaver unluck that I've had.
true. I mean, maybe going unlucky on the beaver will get you lucky on other pets for sure.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
or else I'll
RNG
be
already
messaging
evens out.
all the J mods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I'd rather go double the rate on a beaver than double the rate on Tangleroot.
absolutely, absolutely. At least woodcutting is pretty AFK,
Mhm.
and it means that I can do other series and I can play other accounts and I can play other games and you know. But if I was, I guess Tango would be the same, but it would be for a lot longer.
Mhm. And you still got magic grind in your chunk currently as well, right?
Yeah, 79 magic. It's you know, I'm I'm not very good at RuneScape, just in general. I have my things that I'm good at in RuneScape, but generally not very good, and generally not very knowledgeable either. Like some people were doing some like kind of pub quiz thing for RuneScape with me, and I didn't get many questions right. And some of it was really simple stuff, and I was just like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. So what do you unlock at 75 Slayer or 80 Slayer? And I'm like, I don't know. I've got no
Okay,
idea.
okay. Yeah, I mean, that's
I've
kind
done
of
it multiple
exciting with the
times.
chunk count. I was talking to Spoon last podcast, and he's definitely he doesn't have the general RuneScape knowledge either. So getting new chunks, there's a lot of discovery, extra discovery, because he needs to like learn more about the game at the same time. And I feel like a lot of viewers are probably in that position as well. So it can definitely be a fun dynamic when doing a YouTube series, learning things along with the viewer. And then you've
Yeah, I
got
was.
like degenerates like me who are like yelling at their screen, like, you can do this, you can do this. But
Yeah. No, I've had that two things where I watched that Spoon podcast and I did the like Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I was like clicking and pointing at the screen, being like, "Yep, that's it, that's me.
it's me.
I don't know anything." And then I watch your live streams where you're in chambers and you're doing all this stuff and you're telling people what to do and you're saying don't do this and you should probably drink this now and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I got no idea. I go into chambers and I'm like, I'll drink this stuff. How do I kill this ice giant? What's better? I'm there using like a swamp instead of fire spells, and it's mad. Like you'd watch if I did a live stream of chambers, you'd be disappointed at the very least,
It's
if
okay.
not
It's okay.
enraged.
I do like teaching chambers as well. I mean, I've been going like a full month of challenge mode currently, and I'm a little burnt out of teaching people because it does um, it does weigh on you a little bit, having to explain every room 100 times, but
Yeah.
it is really nice to see uh, people get better at it because you've been teaching them. So I do like that part of it. But yeah, I consume a lot of RuneScape content on YouTube and whatnot. So
Mm.
feel like that's where I kind of got the motivation to try difficult content, learn more about the game in general as well. Even like the weird, clunky, like trivia kind of things of the game too, which I like a lot. But
Yeah.
what have
I mean,
you consumed for content? And I did want to ask who your favorite creators were as well.
yeah, so I RuneScape content nowadays, it's mainly just chunk content. Whereas before, my favorite content creator was Guides for Us All.
Hmm.
His collection series, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I liked him as a person. And the more that I watched him and I watched his live streams, the more I realized that me and him are actually similar people in general. Like we have the same likes and dislikes and so on and so forth. And that made me want to watch him more. And it was more for him rather than the content eventually.
Yeah,
But then
he's a
when
funny guy and he makes things
he
definitely
is,
interesting.
yeah, in his live streams he listens to metal and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just in for it.
There
I
you
love
go.
it. But once I started doing this chunk thing, I started to find all it because my chunk knowledge before was uh, Alex, Blimpwort, and Verf. Like I assume most people have the same kind of transition. But then when I actually got into the clan chat, I started to meet all these new people, see their series. It's kind of broadened into I watch that all the time now, just various people's. So your series, Frey, Josh, Chunk Sarim, Ordo. I watch Mark RS and his Chunky Thorpe or Chunky Thrope, as everyone seems to be
Hmm.
calling him now. Volty Chunk, Extreme Gnome. The list is just it's endless amount of people now. That Sir Camelot is the most recent one that I've
Oh
found
yeah,
and watched, which is really good. So yeah, there's just loads. I just watch any and all.
there's
I wish
tons.
Maka would upload again. That'd be nice.
Yeah, shout out to Macker. Hopefully, he's still playing. So I guess.
He is still plugging away, bless him. But
Hmm.
he put it on himself. He chose to do insane.
Hmm.
Like if you
He's
think Supreme's bad, go watch Maka's series, and you'd be like, "You sir are an idiot."
yeah. Definitely probably getting into some rough grinds on an insane one chunk, let alone Supreme. But do you think Supreme is sustainable over many chunks? Do you think you'll start having to make maybe too many exceptions in the future, or do you think maybe you'll be stuck in a chunk for a couple of years at some point?
I don't think so. I think depending on where you start, yes, you could quickly find yourselves in a death chunk. And I think that's just the same for extremes as well, though, because the death chunk should be getting would be like 99 rune crafting or 99 prayer or something like that, which everybody's afraid of. But I think for supremes, actually, it gets easier, quicker, because the
Okay.
grinds that you have to do in your chunk are so extreme. They're supreme, but they you have to do so much in your first chunk. Like I'm going to get 79 magic in this first chunk. What's going to scare me after that for magic? Not much. And
That's
I've
true.
already got 99 woodcutting, so going to Lumbridge doesn't frighten me anymore. And I'll have to kill 100,000 elementals to get 79 magic, so all my stats will be pretty high. And so I just don't. I think it just gets easier for Supremes the more chunks you unlock. And I think it's the same for Extremes, but I think Supreme's quicker because you're doing more in the chunk you're in than Extreme would, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, that's true in a lot of ways, for sure. Yeah, there's probably more chunks that you'll just fly through because you've already done those requirements in them.
Yeah.
Maybe a few things like Supreme has to get one of each dropped from NPCs as well. Do you like that rule specifically, or is that something you think will get old eventually once you get into chunks or with maybe monsters that don't have much that's interesting on their drop tables, or maybe similar drop tables to stuff that you've already done? You think it'll get kind of tedious after a while to do that?
Not for me personally, because I really like lists. I like ticking things off lists. I've said it many times before on my channel that just having a list of things to do and then going through and periodically just ticking them off, I
Mhm.
think that for me is it just floats my boat. I love that. So I don't think it'll ever get boring for me, but my content, I think it will. If I'm just going, oh look, we've now got a goblin and we've got to get all the goblin drop table, and that's straight after I've gone and done like I don't know, Cerberus, and I got the full Cerberus drop table. People be like, yeah, the goblin thing didn't really do anything for me. So I think I'll have to be careful on how I structure videos once I get to those kind of points. But for me personally, I don't think it'll ever get boring. If I get a
Mm.
chunk that's like Puro is an obvious one because I'll have to get all of the imp drop tables and there's like 10 or whatever it is besides Lucky. That to me is exciting. I'm like, I can't wait to open the chunk picker and it says you've got 1,000 goals, and I'm like, yes, 1,000. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, but
Um,
you'll be like knocking out a lot of them over a few days probably, and then it might slowly dwindle, but you'll probably still be checking a lot of stuff off. That is
yeah,
definitely satisfying to be able to check things off the chunk picker. So I do get that. But yeah, maybe
the only
some editing techniques for um, the visual representation of it. Maybe some
yeah,
uh, maybe just make a collage of drops or something quick montage to get
yeah, I
something
think so.
not as interesting out of the way. Maybe make it more fun for the viewer. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
get
could
that.
do the like standard limp work, quick cut. I've got 99, and I could just say I've just done 10 different drop tables, and it'd be half a second. But yeah, maybe it could be something fun, some nice graphic on the screen. But the only, I thought this might be important to say, the only chunk I'm actually terrified of in the vicinity of Sears Village is Barbarian Assault. That's the only one that I'm like, I hope to whatever powerful being is looking over this world, I do not get that chunk
Are you
because that
are you definitely gonna backlog the Dragon Chain Body Dragon Medhelm?
I don't know. I've kind of all up
Uh,
my own arse going, I definitely will do it because I'm a supreme chunker. But I don't know if I would or not when I get there. But I'm
yeah,
hoping I don't. I hope I never get there.
I'm pretty confident in saying that's probably a meme drop. Those drops are they're what 16 times more rare than the pet,
Yeah, it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. And I mean,
and you have two of
I've
them.
been asked this. Yeah, I've been asked the same question about the Onyx from the gem bag as well. People are asking me if I get there, am I ever going to do that? And my initial answer is until I'm ready to leave the chunk, I will do everything that I can to get it.
Mhm.
But once I've ticked off all other tasks and I'm ready to go, if that's still on the list, it's just a meme drop and it's gone.
Yeah,
But I won't kind of shy away from it. I won't be like, oh, I'm not even going to try. I will do, I'll spend all of my stardust or spend all of uh, my nuggets to get all the things I need, but then to get the uncut onyx. But I
yeah,
don't know. It's
but
hard to say without actually getting into the chunk and doing it.
exactly. Yeah, I feel like only two times that Onyx has been obtained from as many people have done it. At least that's how many
I think there was a
I
third
think
one
we've
actually
recorded. Really, three
earlier
of
this year.
them.
Yeah, I think there was a third one earlier this year. I saw a
Also
screenshot
possible.
on Twitter where there was like just endless amount of uncut stuff in the invent. Must have been, thousands and thousands of of gem bags to get that to that point.
A lot more people doing shooting stars nowadays too, so that's probably like picking up the amount of gem bags being bought, which might make it seem like it's coming into the game more often. But
I
yeah,
love shooting
that's
stars, actually. I don't have any close by, which is a bit of a shame, but that is a kind of chill, because Verf was doing it recently, wasn't he?
it was, yeah. That's my
That's
only way
kind
to
of a
train mining. And it's the only time I can really AFK in this chunk too. My trees go down in one shot.
yeah, that's true, yeah. That it kind of depresses me every time I join your stream and you're chopping 3 trees and then hopping worlds. I'm like, that must be agony.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it after a while. It's like anything. But yeah, I can't just take a break and let the tree chop for a while, which would be nice. But
Yeah, it would be nice, yeah.
yeah, at least I can mine for 7 minutes straight
That
while
is good.
editing. Yeah. But yeah, that grind's almost done too. I'm getting closer to that. But
That'll be an exciting day
oh
when
yeah.
you can, because I think I like long grinds when they're not ridiculously long,
Mhm.
because when you get to the point of finishing them, the kind of euphoria that you feel
Yeah.
being in it is just incredible. It's like I always talk about it being akin to playing Dark Souls, for example, which I don't know if you have or if any of the listeners will have, but you grind against that brick wall for hours and hours and hours trying to kill that one boss or that one enemy, and you feel like it's impossible, and then you do it, and it's almost like a drug.
I
You
could
just get a massive rush.
I could say Inferno is probably
Yeah, that's
the
true. Yeah,
RuneScape
exactly.
equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting your first Infernal Capes like no other feeling in the game for sure.
I'm pretty sure I've seen videos of people passing out after getting their Inferno cape out of pure stress and then instant adrenaline.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you don't stop smiling, and then every time you look at your cape, it's kind of that euphoric feeling comes back as well for a little while anyway. Yeah, it's definitely whenever you have to strive a little harder to achieve something, it makes it feel even better for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been saying about this beaver.
Hmm.
You know, I'm getting like 24.5 million
Yeah.
woodcutting XP.
I think you're gonna love your beaver more than your Rocky that you got spoons. So
Absolutely. As soon as I get beaver, it's turning into that fox and it's being put behind me and it's not going to ever leave my sight,
I
because
feel that. Yeah.
I've waited a long time
Mhm.
and I'm still waiting for it, but we'll get there.
Definitely very soon, hopefully. So let's take a little bit of a right turn here, and I want to ask you, what your uh, what you like to do in real life, any hobbies you have, or stuff you just generally like to do.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got quite a bit now. I'm
That's
recently
good.
single,
Well,
which
that's
isn't.
not good, but
There was a bit
depending
of
on how you look
unfortunate
at it.
timing there. Yeah, no, it was fine. It was amicable and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like a crazy shout and match thing. But it means now that I've got more time to indulge in all of my passions again.
Mm.
So obviously, video games is one of them. So outside of RuneScape, I spend a lot of time trying to 100% games on PlayStation 5. I'm up to about 31 now games fully 100%ed.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know, I just get a kick out of it, which is why it kind of transitioned into this OneChunk thing. But I also play a lot of League of Legends, which I hate more than anything on this planet, and I think everyone else would agree with me
Yeah,
on
yeah, I
that.
think people would understand that. I played a little bit of League of Legends for a while. I decided I wasn't gonna like try and get good at it. I was just gonna play it for fun every once in a while, and I think
No
that's
such thing.
what kept me out of like the rut a lot of people get in of absolutely hating the game.
Yeah, but you're addicted, so you can't leave.
Yeah,
Like, I've watched
well, I
clips of
left,
like,
but
yeah, well, once you're in too
once you're
far,
in, yeah,
yeah, I've watched clips of like Tyler One, who's a league streamer, going off about how he wants to quit, but he just can't because he's addicted and he wants to come back. And I'm like, that's it. That's what it feels like. And one day I will quit, but for now, I've got a load of buddies that play it, so it's kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it
But
can be a
outside
cool
of
way
video,
to kill like an hour here and there too. So,
well, for me it turns into like 4 hours, but yeah. But outside of video games, mountain biking, absolutely love mountain biking. I'm ticking off all of the trails across the UK, and then hopefully one day I'll be able to go to all the different ones around the world. And places like Canada, I've heard, has got some of the best
oh,
biking
I'm sure.
trails.
Yeah.
Switzerland and places like that. And music is a really big passion of mine. I love music. Obviously, it's quite a people say it's a really strange thing that when they watch my videos, they hear the lo-fi hip hop. It's a really chill vibe, and then they actually talk to me in person or in my Discord channel, and they see all the like metal, like really, really extreme metal things that I post, and they're like, "How do you get from that to that?"
I
And
get
generally,
that.
the answer is while I'm gaming, it's lo-fi hip hop, like the Minecraft soundtrack and things like that. And then outside of gaming, it's just heavy metal.
Yeah.
And when I go to the gym, same thing. I like to go to the gym. It's when I'm there, the best thing to work out to it has to be heavy metal or drum and bass.
Yeah, I definitely yeah. I like the harder kind of music going into the gym too. Keep the motivation up.
Yeah.
100%. Get that.
And also, I am potentially, I shouldn't say just in case it doesn't happen, but I might be joining a Dungeons and Dragons party.
Ooh,
So I might be delving into D&D in the near future, which will be exciting because I've always
nice.
liked the idea of it, but I've never actually had the time commitment to put into it.
Yeah, I was offered to do a D&D group at one point. I think I was just too busy at the time, but it was going to be like a Legend of Zelda kind of theme of it.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I've never I played Zelda like watching my friends play it mostly, couple of times, but yeah, I feel either way, it's a very cool concept playing D&D. So I'd be down to try it at some point, but um, I am like a one game kind of person.
You know,
Hard
I
for me to stray.
unfortunately, yeah, I'm not. Unfortunately, I am a many games kind of person. I tend to play multiple games at the same time, generally.
Hmm. Well, RuneScape was meant to be like kind of do other things at the same time in some
Mm.
instances kind of game. So I get that. Like if I'm usually playing two accounts at once. So if I wasn't
Oh
doing
yeah,
that, then I could see playing another game at the same time too. But,
I sometimes play 3 accounts at once, which is quite sad to admit.
yeah, me too. I mean, if anybody's seen like the mega scale streams, sometimes six accounts at once, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, but yeah, like at that point, it's too much really, and
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to log out on as many of them as quick as I can because it's too much, sure. But
We don't have to do that anymore, do you? You're out of the
I
mega
might
scales now, right? Or are you
if
gonna maybe do some more?
I go to the 2000 challenge modes, get the cape, then but I don't have like the pet or any of the purples,
Oh
then I'll be
yeah,
back to mega scales. Yeah.
true,
Which were
true.
fun. Definitely a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing them in the stream, enjoyed watching them. And the 50-50 purple chance is really cool to see at the end. Uh, Makes it dramatic too. So I
Yeah,
like that portion.
I like videos like that as well. Like I watched a video of a guy who did was it 50 to 99 fire making at Wintertodd,
Mm.
and they didn't open the crates until the end, and they just did like a 40-minute video of just opening all the crates, and they did the full scaled Wintertodd solo thing, so they got
Oh
like
wow.
26 or 28 or whatever rolls per chest. That was
Yeah.
really good to watch. I really enjoy stuff like that.
There's a lot of dopamine opening content in this game, which I like a lot too. Yeah, any
which
like
is why I'm
clue
waiting for your
video.
1,000 master thing.
Yeah, that's gonna
That's what I'm
take a
waiting for.
while, but yeah.
I know I'm really excited for that. It might be in like 3 years' time, but I
Mhm.
can't wait to watch you just open all 1,000. That's gonna
Yeah,
be so good.
even every video along the way to get the master clues will have some sort of opening to get excited about too. So the other clues still have a lot of slots to get. So yeah, collection
Yeah, I mean, I
logs
try and
addicting for sure.
it is. It really is. And I mean, I have this argument with people all the time, and I think I see a lot of it on Twitter as well of people saying like, "Oh, collection loggers, they're the worst, and why would you want to try and get all third age? It's never going to happen," and blah blah blah. But it's like it's just fun to do. So even people like I was going to say Hey Jace, but he banned me from his Twitch chat, so I'm not going to
Oh,
say Hey Jace. I'm going to say someone else instead. But, you know, like Guides for Us All, if he got to the point where he was only doing hard clues, then I think I'd still watch because he'd still be excited about getting whatever third age piece or gilded piece, and I'd be invested
mhm.
in that as well. So I think it'd still be fine. But a lot of people don't like that idea of grinding 3,000 hard clues a day
Yeah.
or
I
whatever
mean,
it is.
you just know eventually they're gonna put new stuff in, then you have to grind that too, which is
Yeah.
part of the fun. I hate the collection loggers who don't want new stuff to come in the game. Like if you're a collection logger, why wouldn't you want more collection log slots? But yeah, I mean, it's probably not gonna be completed anytime soon. So, especially just because of third age and why would you like want it to be? I wouldn't even be like against clue expansion that added more third age, although it would piss off like a lot of collection loggers. But anyone who thinks that they're gonna complete it anytime soon or that it's like even realistic to go for that kind of goal is kind of just I don't know.
Delusional.
Yeah, they're kind of delusional, I'm not gonna lie.
But it's still fun either way. Um, and I mean, I should clarify 2 quick points. One, I got banned from Hey Jace's Twitch chat, I think because people were talking about where they lived and the weather, and I said where not like my hometown or whatever, but I said like the region, and I said the weather here was crap. I think it was the same region where Hey Jace lives. So one of his mods just instantly banned me, just in case I then proceeded to say where I lived, like more specifically.
Yeah,
Or maybe I knew where he lived, so I revealed it to everybody. So that's why I got banned. I wasn't in there like being a dick or whatever.
you just told them
Um,
you hate drum bass, and bam, kick.
no, I like drum and bass, and I liked him up until his mods banned me, and now I don't like him anymore until he gets them to unban me, so I can carry on watching him.
Feel yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to like message him on Twitter or anything. But and then the second point was I hate the word clogger, and I refuse to use it ever unless explaining that I hate it. And I don't know how you feel about the word clogger, but it just doesn't sound good.
It's just like another word, I guess. Like people always abbreviate things, or yeah. Um,
I'd much prefer to take the extra second to say collection logger than
I've
to
gotta admit that I've used it before, but
oh dear.
yeah, I definitely like notice when I'm using it too much, and I stop using it for a while. But eventually, I usually use it again. But normally to make fun of people.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. It kind of it just makes me feel weird when people say clogger. It's just it doesn't sound anything like what you're doing. So
Yeah, like you're wearing wooden shoes or something, or clogging.
yeah, or you collect them or something like that. You
Yeah,
collect clogs, so you're a clogger. I don't know. It just sounds weird.
I feel like collect clogs is kind of like collect collection logs. It wouldn't make sense, so
Yeah, true.
I shouldn't say that. But yeah.
But I mean, because I there's a guy who you may have heard of, Lone Gym Rat.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Uh, I watched I watched a lot of his videos, but he started using Clogger a lot, like too much. and I find it a struggle then to carry on watching while hearing Clogger every couple of seconds. So I unfortunately had to stop watching him for that very reason. I dislike the word that much.
Yeah, and it's very cringe when it's overused for sure. But
Which is why I like Guides for Us All so much, because he doesn't like Clogger either. He's very specific to say he doesn't like that word. So that's good.
I think Coxie says C-log. C-logger. Something like that.
Is that any better? C-logger? It's the same word.
Yeah. At least you're not hearing the same thing.
You just put a space in between the C and logger.
The C-log, yeah. C-log, clog. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like a weird thing anyway. It's something that people take way too seriously, the collection log. And shouldn't be afraid to put new logs in. And I think it'll be cool to have a high scores, like they were talking about putting high scores in for a collection log. But yeah,
I agree.
I mean, it's tricky too because you can have a lot less collection logs than somebody else, but you have like a lot more, time put into it because of certain logs that take longer. So
EHP, that's what they call it. Efficient hours played.
No, that's for skills. EHL, I think. Hours logged.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So
because people that have got like 10 third ages will have more efficient hours logged or played or whatever it is than someone that has one but has more collection log slots overall.
Yeah. I think Marnie, who's number one now, was like number one logged like when he had like 500 less collection logs than he does now.
Yeah. Which is insane, but I think it's a fun idea to have and to include if they can.
Yeah. I think the only way that somebody would ever like complete the collection log if they got just stupidly lucky too, and he's probably the only person even close to being say that they could go stupidly lucky on it.
But I think that's a good thing. I think it's something that I think one of the reasons why the main argument I saw behind not having like collection log high scores was that it will force people to want to be at the top of it, and then they would spend their lives doing stupid grinds and things. And I kind of I kind of get that as a point, but also so what? People are going to do it anyway. And if someone doesn't want to do it, they won't. So what's the harm in just giving something that doesn't actually impact the game really at all? Just saying there's now a high score thing that you can be at the top of if you want. Because no one's really going to beat Basiligus and Marnie at this point, are they? Not if they get like super duper lucky.
True,
because they just seem to be so far ahead that
it's also very silly. I think when when people do grinds that they don't like just don't do them. Like if you're gonna be a collection logger, you kind of have to like every aspect of the game. Which
or you have to deal with the bad bits that you don't like.
Yeah, or
because you like collection logging so much. Yeah.
Like I AFK'd Trouble Brewing, and it was nice to AFK it. Not gonna lie. But I wouldn't have forced myself to actively do Trouble Brewing if I wasn't enjoying it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I have got one log left on the Mulch Island, the aerial fishing log. I hate that grind. I hate it. It's long, it's boring, and the pearl drop rate is ridiculous for what you're doing. But because I like
AFK it.
Exactly, you can't. You have to be locked in for a good amount of hours. But because I like completing the collection log so much, I deal with it. But if I didn't want to do the collection log, I would not go to that island ever. I wouldn't need to train there. I wouldn't need to go there. So it'd be dead content for me. And I think that's the same for everything in RuneScape. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like a certain aspect of the game, and they might not do it. I don't do the wilderness content at all because I don't like the wilderness.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's how it should be taken on. If you like doing the grind, you do the grind. thing about like chunk content too is yeah, you are kind of forced to do the grind too. So you really do have to like a lot of aspects of the game to do chunk content as well.
Mm.
But yeah, eventually you're gonna get to a grind that you don't like, and you have to power through it.
Which is fine, but that might be like the make or break point for you as a person, where you're like, can I deal with this hellhole that I've gotten myself into, or am I just going to quit
Yeah,
and
if
just be like,
you
I
end up
prefer
rolling
happiness?
into the wilderness somehow,
Yeah, exactly,
you
exactly.
have to
If I
make a
get
hard
there,
choice.
I don't know what I'm going to do because I hate the wilderness, and I don't. So I should clarify. I don't hate the wilderness. I hate PKers
Hmm.
because I don't like PKing. I don't like PvP. It's not my thing in RuneScape. I'll do it in like League of Legends and all that kind of stuff. But in RuneScape, it's not my thing. I just want to be chilled. I just want to be relaxed at all times. And when I go into the wilderness, I don't feel relaxed because I feel like at any moment a PK is going to appear, and I'm too shit at the game to get away from them effectively. Like Frey does it, like that. If PK appears and he's gone, and 9 times out of 10 he escapes. Me, it would be 1 out of 10, and I'd be losing shed loads of items all the time. And I guess because I played Group Ironman, it made it even more stressful because a lot of these weapons that I'd take into the wilderness, if I lost any of them, it's a big grind to get them back. So
Yeah,
it just stressed me out even more to the point where I was like, I just don't like the wilderness and I'm not going to go anymore.
yeah.
Um,
A few times I've lost like items I probably shouldn't have been risking in the wilderness. Definitely gotta pick and choose what you bring in there and stuff.
but you just like you
But
get smited and like people get tricked into sculling up and all this kind of stuff that if you're a hardcore old school RuneScape player, you know all these tricks, you know what to do, you know how to get out of it, whatever. For me, I'm kind of a casual player. I play the game a lot, but in my kind of knowledge of the game, it's more casual. I don't go to seek out how to escape PKs. Maybe I should, but
if you
for
got
that
that
reason,
grind, you definitely should.
oh yeah,
But
I'd have to scrub
yeah,
up then.
it's
Yeah,
kind of a bad dynamic that the wilderness has currently. I know Frey talked about it in his recent video quite extensively. But yeah, just like the way that PVMers are like forced to be in the wilderness, and then Jagex seems to think that all PKers want to do is kill defenseless PVMers
yeah,
when what they really need is PKers killing PKers. More of that, less where they all they have to kill is like defenseless people that don't want to fight back and get pissed off at them when they get killed. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's just not a good dynamic that we're in currently, and my only hope is that there's a shift. Um, there's a big change where they do try to make content that's PKers directed at PKers and less PKers directed at PVM skillers. I think that would
Yeah,
definitely be an improvement to a lot of the wilderness if it was built that way.
I agree, and I think that the biggest argument that PKs have ever made to me, with me complaining at them for coming and killing me while I'm trying to kill like Calvarion or whatever it is, um, they will say, "Well, don't come to the wilderness then if you don't want to get PK'd by us." And my response was, "Fine, I won't then. See you in a bit." And I haven't gone back. So, you know, the one argument they always have to me about stop being a pussy and just leave if you don't want to get PK'd. I was like, okay, I agree. Yeah, I'm not going to come back then. And then now the wilderness is basically dead content for me because I'm not interested.
Mm.
I have to do it at some point, either on the group I and when we're trying to get certain stuff from like revs or getting the Void Waker or whatever. And if I get there on the chunk account, I'll have to do it. But for now that I don't have to, I'm just choosing not to. I think that's quite good actually in general for
Good
just
for your
players.
mental, I'm sure, to
Yeah,
just
so you
decide
don't
not to
force
do it.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's there is kind of a euphoria of escaping uh PKers too, which I'm sure you see in Freddy's videos. he gets
Yeah,
mental when he escapes the
he certainly
PK or
does.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played some Deadman modes and stuff, and I think the funnest part for like a non PKer to play Deadman mode is just always having like an escape route. Getting attacked by somebody and surviving is a pretty good feeling. Sure. But yeah, in general, um, it shouldn't be a normal dynamic for the wilderness, and it shouldn't be something that Jagex bases every single one of their wilderness updates around, because that seems like what everything else is. Like the wilderness agility course that they just brought in gives
Mm,
you like a ton of money per hour, so people want to go there to make money, but they're just gonna get PK'd all the time.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's it does make like another hotspot for PKers, but it's mostly centered around PKers killing PVMers or skillers. So yeah, they need to find different ways to make the wilderness better for everybody. Honestly,
I agree. I agree. I think it's a shame when, because I don't really see it much in anything else. Like, people in the chunk community don't complain about any chunk related things to the extent of the old school RuneScape community complaining about the PKing wilderness PVMer thing. I don't see that happen very often. Even like region locked people and Ultimate Ironman and all these kind of people, they don't really have something that they all, fervently complain about, like just the general community does about PKs and going into the wilderness. So
yeah,
I feel
definitely.
like they need to
We
do
we
something.
see that a lot for sure. Yeah. Hopefully that is something that's addressed before me or you get into the wilderness with our chunk counts. So.
I seriously hope to God I don't ever get there, but we'll see. I mean, my hope at the minute is that I go north into Relica and I unlock Dagonoth Kings and
That'd be
all the
cool.
different
Yeah.
islands up there. I think that would be really interesting and really cool to see.
Yeah, you could do that quest line. You already
Yeah.
have one chunk that hard for it, which is the bar area.
And I should be able to unlock the rest of the chunks on the way to actually complete a lot of the quests up there. I think it'd just be generally cool, just having Miscellanea and Lunar Island and all that kind of stuff just available to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool area. You can get a lot of really nice upgrades there. Obviously, like the DK rings, but yeah, like
Or
Remnant Helm.
yeah, or I could get hit with the awful Keldegrim grind, which
You
is
say awful,
definitely a
but I actually
possibility.
thought that that would be a really cool place to start. I think somebody who comes into my Twitch chat a lot. He started there on an extreme, but he hasn't come back yet. But it would be very cool because you actually connect to the Falador mines
Mm, yeah,
as well as Relica, and you can start the giant dwarf quest to get into um, the Keldegrim area. Blast
yeah,
furnace. I think you have to get 99 smithing.
yeah.
But
That's
you
my
have the
worry.
blast furnace, and you can buy ores too. So
That is
it's
true, but you
not
need to be
as
able to
bad
make
of
the
smithing.
money to buy all the ores, which I don't know how easy that is in
Probably, I
Keldegrim.
think he was planning on doing amethyst mining and alching um, the javelin heads, like a lot of people
Bloody
do.
hell! That means
That and rune, but yeah,
you've got to get to 90 mining though first.
yeah, and you got to get the crafting level for that too. Sure, there's a
That
lot to that
sounds
chunk,
stressful.
but yeah, I obviously like a nice starting chunk, so a nice long grind starting chunk.
Yeah, yeah. That is kind of your deal.
But I think we're pretty much nearing the end here. So, is there anyone that you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Um, yeah, I mean, generally, it's just everybody in the chunk community, to be honest. I mean, I basically started my account in October last year and I actually joined the community in November last year. There was a month of me just playing on my own, not knowing that it even existed. And then, everyone's been really kind to me for the whole time. People that have joined my channel and joined my Discord and all that kind of stuff have been really kind. And I've got to make a lot of friends with, all the different creators out there. There's you and Mark and Spoon, there's Volty, Extreme Gnome, Frey, Josh. And it's even kind of extended a little bit outside the chunk community, speaking to people like Unguided and
Mhm.
ZZ, the boss locked guy, and Skeldor, and all these people that I wouldn't have actually been able to speak to if it wasn't for people in the chunk community introducing me and spreading the word and all that kind of good stuff. So generally just want to thank everybody, really. And I want to thank my boys in my group Iron, Goon Matt, Goon Scott, and Goon Smurf, because they convinced me to do this. They convinced me to start the account and start the YouTube series. So if they hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be here right now. You'd be interviewing somebody else.
Nice. And so you all have Goon in your name, the group Ironman?
Yeah, we're Goon. It has different meanings of the word, and we found that out after we created that group. But we mean Goon as in stupid.
Oh yeah.
We're all stupid old school RuneScape players who are bad at the game. But I've heard other spicier versions of the
Really?
word.
I feel like in
Since
America,
then.
that's basically the definition.
Yeah,
Silly, kind of stupid, but
that's what we meant it as. But there's some other connotations of the word. So don't
I will
Google
have
it
to
too much.
Google that. Yeah. No. But yeah, that's awesome. You get a lot of people shout out there. How about your socials? If people want to find you, best way to find you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, OSRS Hannibal on YouTube. I am OSRS Hannibal on Twitter as well. I don't use Twitter too much, but generally, if I upload a video or have something to say, which is not often, I'll post it there. My Discord server, which is linked in all of my videos, we've got a good community there at the minute. It's growing. There's more people getting involved, which is always nice. And at some point in the very near future, I'll be starting streaming,
Ooh,
which will be on Twitch most likely, or YouTube, or both.
nice.
Which will be nice because I think I'm better in live talking than I am talking on videos. So I
Yeah,
seem to always forget
I get that.
what I've said before, and then I repeat myself constantly, which is which is a really big stupid thing to do. But I don't know. I seem to get into that kind of issue there. But when I talk live, it's a bit different. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out for me.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
I think that's it. That's everything.
Cool. Yeah, I'll put all those links into the description of this video as well. So if anyone
Thanks
wants
very
to
much.
check out Hannibal, definitely click those links below. Yeah, if you enjoyed the podcast, leave a like, comment, consider subscribing. We'll have another hunker on next week. So glad to have you today.
No,
And
thank you.
yeah,
It's been fun.
awesome. Peace out, guys.